Today we are going to be looking at the 8 different types of thinking maps. Little elevator music or little saxophone jazz. Thinking maps are important because they're a visual representation of our cognitive functions. The purpose of circle maps is used to define a word or concept based on what you're currently studying and based on one's prior knowledge of this topic. Circle maps can also be used for brainstorming ideas, similar to like a brain dump. Circle maps are constructed with a small inner circle with a larger outer circle encompassing it. The inner circle is where you will write or draw a word, number, picture, symbol, or sign that you are trying to understand and define. The larger circle is where you will write or draw information that gives definition to the idea or concept that is in the inner circle. Some application with circle maps is after brainstorming ideas, students can begin making connections between all the ideas to generalize or make definitions. A great question for circle maps is, tell me everything you know about, and then use the topic that you're studying. Circle maps are another great way to pre-assess students' prior knowledge of a topic or to understand students' misconceptions of the topic. Circle maps are a great way to define academic processing vocabulary or content-specific academic vocabulary. Bubble maps are used to describe things using adjectives, your 5 senses, and vivid language. Let's take a look at how to make a bubble map. A bubble map is constructed with a small inside circle and numerous other circles surrounding the inside circle. Lines extend from the inside circle to each of the surrounding circles. The inner circle is where you write or draw a word, number, picture, sign, or symbol that you are trying to describe. The circles extending from the inside circle have words or pictures that describe the word or picture in the center. While the bubble map looks similar to webbing, it has a different purpose. Webbing is used to brainstorm similar to a circle map, or classifying like a tree map. Bubble maps are very effective for developing vocabulary, finding words that go beyond words like nice or good. Bubble maps are also a great way to use to describe emotional state of characters like loyalty, trustworthiness, respectful, happy, etc. The double bubble map is used to compare 2 things in order to find out how they are similar to each other and how they're different from each other. Let's take a look at how to make a double bubble map. Double bubble maps begin with 2 circles and writing, drawing, or words or pictures of 2 things that you are comparing. Add circles in the middle for words or phrases that show how the 2 ideas are similar. Then extend a line to each of the 2 original circles. Add outside circles connected respectively to the idea they describe to show how the 2 ideas are different from each other. Although it's very important for students to know how to use the Venn diagram, it was intended to help organize numbers and set theory. So the double bubble map allows students the flexibility to add unlimited number of similarities and/or differences to the 2 topics. Double bubble maps also allow students to visually place point and counterpoint differences between contrasting ideas. Tree maps are used for classifying, sorting, and grouping things and ideas into categories or groups. Tree maps can be used to analyze main ideas and details that support it. Let's take a look at how to make a tree map. A tree map is constructed by writing the category name or main idea on the top line. Add a connecting or connection line coming down for each category name. Then add individual subcategories or supporting ideas. Tree maps can be created deductively, starting with the top, moving down, outlining the main idea, like angles, and then telling more about each type of angle. Tree maps can also be created inductively, starting with all the clues, determining how you would group the clues together, and then creating the name of the group, and then determining the overall main idea. Brace maps are used to analyze the parts of physical objects and to identify the relationship of parts to a whole. Brace maps are an effective way of looking at the structural analysis of things. Let's take a look at how to make a brace map. A brace map is constructed when writing the name of an object or structure on a line. Then we create the first brace. On the lines within the first brace, write the major parts of the object. Then follow within the next set of braces with the parts of each major part. Think of each brace like an equal sign, so when you read it right to left, you can add all the parts and then it should equal the whole. Brace maps are effective with vocabulary development because of specific words are used to label its parts. It's important to remember the difference between brace maps and tree maps. Brace maps focus on the parts of, whereas the tree maps focus on the kinds of. Flow maps can be used for many reasons. They can be used for sequencing stages of an event, identifying the steps in a process, and for ordering information. Let's take a look at how to make a flow map. A flow map is constructed by drawing a rectangle, labeling it with the major stage of an event. Connect the first rectangle with an arrow to the second rectangle that's labeled with the next major state of the event. Continue with subsequent rectangles until you are done with the event. It is important to remember to name the event up on the top. Flow maps do not need to be linear, but they can be created to show the progression in any direction, like vertically, diagonally, or circular. Flow maps are excellent for telling steps in a social story, timelines with historical events, problem-solving steps, and life cycles. Multi-flow maps are used to identify the causes and effects of an event. Let's take a look at how to make a multi-flow map. The multi-flow map is constructed by drawing a rectangle in the center of your paper. Here you write the event that has occurred. On the left side, write a rectangle with each cause of the event, connecting each cause with an arrow to the center of the rectangle. On the right side, write a rectangle with each effect of the event, connecting each effect with an arrow from the center of the rectangle. The event in the middle should be an action or a happening like swimming at the lake, rather than naming a place like Eastside Lake. Partial or one-sided multi-flow maps can be used to focus on just the causes of an event or just the effects of the event. There does not need to be a balance or a one-to-one correspondence of cause and effects of an event. Multi-flow maps are effective when developing a student's emotional intelligence by reflecting on their behavior. Bridge maps are used to identify similarities between relationships of two or more things. Bridge maps are effective when creating and recognizing analogies. Let's take a look at how to make a bridge map. The bridge map is constructed by drawing a horizontal line with two diagonal lines in the middle to create a bridge. To the side, the relating factor must be identified. The relating factor is a similar phrase that both sides of the analogy fits. An example is a type of or is greater than. On the top and bottom of the left side of the bridge, write the first pair of things that have this relationship. Finally, on the right side of the bridge, write in the second pair of terms that have the same relationship. Bridge maps can extend further than two pairs of words or pictures as long as the relating factor remains the same. To check for understanding, write an analogy as a complete sentence, reading top, the relating factor, and then the bottom. Bridge maps are effective when supporting Tier 2 academic vocabulary that can be more abstract, and Tier 3 academic vocabulary to help build meaning of a word.